And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with the Alison K. Alison, thanks for being my guest today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the invite.
Well, you are welcome. It is going to be a great conversation. So Alison's an entrepreneur for many years. She's the host of a podcast called The Ultimate Journey of Self-Care. Yep. Now, don't let that scare you away, because she does some really cool things around helping us as entrepreneurs really take care of our bodies, our minds, our self, and helping us develop and run a business that is our dream business. So
yes,
she really attacks us at a new way. And she had a very interesting experience through that pandemic thing that I'm going to let her tell you about. But I'm really interested, Alison, just to dive in a little bit. But as we get there, let me ask you, how did you get to doing what you do today?
Wow. Well, that's kind of a loaded question, if I'm being honest. Way back, like in the dinosaur days, back when I was a student, my first thought, believe it or not, my first goal was to go to physical therapy school. That's what I wanted to do. I planned my whole college curriculum around that. And when that didn't work out, I was advised to look at something else in a related field. Now, I grew up a competitive swimmer. I've been a competitive athlete all of my life and always been interested in exercise and fitness to a degree. And I'm a little bit of a science nerd too, because I like to understand why things are the way they are in our bodies and our minds, right?
Sure.
So someone suggested, why don't you think about a master's degree in a related field and then go on to PT school? So I was like, okay, that sounds like a good plan. So just so happens the school of my choice has one of the best exercise science programs in the country, really in the world. Okay. And so I was like, this works for me. Let's go. Let's see what this is all about. So I did. And pretty much after that first year, I had pretty much made up my mind that the universe was sending me a Hail Mary signal, tapping me on the shoulder and saying, let's go. This is what you need to be doing. And I've never looked back. I never once after that had a second thought.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. All right.
And that was over 30 years ago. So a lot of water's gone under the bridge since then, but that experience changed my life. I would not be sitting here talking to you right now if I hadn't done that.
That is very cool, because quite honestly, exercise is my son's becoming a PT right now. Exercise is the bane of my existence. I have this love-hate relationship with it,
and many other people do too.
And it is, and so, but you got this unique idea of somehow connecting exercise and health and all of that with business, so that entrepreneurs can really live a fully orbed life, I guess.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
Well, it's all about how you decide to do you. That's what it's all about. It's all about how you decide to do you, from the daily habits to what we're thinking and believing to how we're prioritizing ourselves. Look, our mind and our body is the vehicle that's going to get us to the dream that we envision for ourselves. And we have the dream in our mind and our hearts because God, universe, source energy, whatever it is that you refer to, has bestowed that upon us. It is our responsibility to see that through. And in order to be able to do that, we have to be able to prioritize ourselves. So this whole story about not having time, being too busy, having too many other commitments, it's really just a convenient way to avoid what I like to call the pink elephant in the room. Because really, at the end of the day, you're not taking care of yourself. Guess what? Nothing else is really going to matter.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. I think we're going to end the podcast right now because I'm getting convicted. So no. it really is prioritization, and I know that in my life, right?
Yeah,
I can make all the excuses, but at the end of the day, I've got two young girls still at home. I would like to be around when they're, when they're 40, 50, 60 and having grandkids. That is probably what motivates me to have a little bit of exercise on a regular basis.
Yes.
And
that's really what it's all about. I think you hit on something that a lot of people maybe know logically, but maybe don't piece together when they're trying to create the story as to why they can't, make time to go to the gym or go to the yoga class or whatever it is. Yeah. But what I always say is this: the goal is to be fit and healthy for the lifetime. The goal is not to be on a magazine cover. The goal is not to wear the clothes that we wore in high school and college, although that's great too, if that's what happens. But the goal is to be fit and healthy so that you live the life that you want, so you can be around for all the things that matter to you.
Yeah. And that is so good. I hope everybody heard that, to live the life that you want, because in our world of entrepreneurism, I don't even know if that's a word, everything is built around money.
Yeah.
You can live your dream if you have a 7-figure business.
Yep.
You could also die of a heart attack for all the stress.
Exactly.
It's not the point. The point is, I love fit and healthy. That's good.
That's the goal. That should always be the goal.
Yeah, that's good. So how do you work with entrepreneurs in helping them get the mindset, I guess, around that, and to make tweaks in lifestyle, and to get these big audacious goals that we have in business, and go, okay, how do we merge all this together?
I like to call it, you have to adopt the mindset of being an innovator. You have to look at what you're doing, what your skill set is, what you're good at. But you also have to look at what hasn't worked so far. Because I think we can get in the habit of spinning and doing the same thing. Well, I'll just work harder. I'll just do this. I'll just do this. I'll just do this. And none of that's really going to produce anything that's meaningful for you too at the end of the day. So what I try to embody in what I teach is my 3-step process to innovation, which allows us to really zero in on really what makes you different from so many other people in your space. Because if for people out there listening, if you think that you're unique because of what you do, guess what? There are thousands of other people that are trying to do the same thing.
Yep.
Right. And you have to really hang your hat on something that really makes you stand out. And you have to own your zone of genius, and you have to do it in a way that really aligns with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right. So let's talk about the 3-step process. That's fascinating. You just dropped that out there, then you went on. I'm like, no. What are the 3 steps to innovation? And then I want to dive in.
Well, I mean, this isn't like rocket science. This is just something that as I basically reinvented myself since 2020, it's kind of something that I've really become a lot more heavily acquainted with. So I'll try to make this really simple. Step number 1 is really, and I basically alluded to this already, zeroing in on what makes you really unique. What is your skill set? What are you excited about? What are things that are in your wheelhouse that really light you up? Not just that you're good at, but that really light you up and excite you, because odds are there's something in there that makes you really different from everyone else. Okay. Step number 2 is we have to dive in there and see what is it about all of that fills a need out there that's not already being done. And I'll use my space as an example, being in fitness. There are lots of people out there that are doing online clubs and online this and that and the other in fitness. So what is it, if that's you and that's what you want to do, what is it that you could position in there that fills a need that's not already being done? So you kind of have to look at what's already being offered, and then kind of analyze, okay, what's not being offered and what is it that people want? So the best way to figure that out is to talk to people, do with that good old marketing research, have conversations, ask the questions, and just be curious about it, right? And then step number 3, and this is where I think you really have, this is where the rubber meets the road. And you have to be incredibly humble and be willing to look within yourself and say, what have I done that hasn't worked? And own that, right? And what has also been done by other people that hasn't worked? And so in there, I like to call it the good old Venn diagram, the circles that cross, right? Remember that back from the Stone Ages too? Look at the places where those circles intersect. And that's what we find is something that you can offer in your business. And really, I like to call that, my perfect analogy of that is the hybrid business model, which is what I actually do now. And I like to equal that to the hybrid car. You have more than one way to do what it is that you do. You do that, you can actually serve more people, and you can grow your business more in a way that really aligns with you.
Yeah, that is so good. And we could spend the rest of the day diving deep, because you hit a lot of things. You didn't say it, but you hit a lot of things there. So finding that, shy of a better word, your zone of genius, right? What is it that just fires you up? You and I recently met, right? You don't know this about me. My audience knows this. I only do 4 things well, Allison. Okay. Now I'm wicked good at these 4 things, but outside of those 4 things, I am mediocre.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you bring
I
up a
have
good
built
point.
a team to do those things, because I need to stay in my zone of genius so that I can serve the needs of my market.
Yes.
And keep innovating new ways, because if I keep doing what I do today, guess what? In a year or 2, I'm outdated.
Yeah.
We are all so.
Yes.
And I tell my audience all the time, you've got to be doing what only you can do for me.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I bring people to my team who do those other
Mhm.
things really, really well.
Yeah,
My eldest son's my chief operating officer. His
fabulous.
on his business card, it said, if he had a business card, it'd be Caleb DeLon. What's your role? To make Michael's business dreams come true.
Yeah.
He and I work so well together that I'm like, here's
Mhm.
where we're going. He's like, I'll make it happen. And he builds all the stuff in because that's his zone of genius.
Exactly. And that's stuff that you don't need to be spending
It
your
would
time
kill
doing.
me.
Right. Totally.
And my business would be about half the size because I'd be so focused on the wrong things that I
Yes.
wouldn't be living my life. My health would be down because I'd have more stress.
Yes.
My
Mhm.
business isn't good. So that's what you kind of help business owners do is talk through these things and
Yes.
isolate. Or is that?
Yes. Yes. It's that. And look, it can be something within their business, like creating a really unique offer that really helps them separate themselves from the rest of the pack. Because let's be honest, if you've been in business for any length of time,
Mhm.
it can get really easy and simple to just kind of stay in your lane and keep doing the
Oh,
same things. And then you get up one day and you're like not excited anymore, right?
that's
Or you're
right.
not interested anymore, or you wonder why customers or just and clients are deciding to go elsewhere, and then it's because you're not staying relevant. You're not
Right.
staying fresh and keeping that edge sharp and keeping you positioned as the real difference maker in your space.
Absolutely.
And it really requires you to take a long, hard look at ourselves in the mirror on a regular basis and ask the really hard questions. Am I really doing what excites me?
Yeah.
Am I making a difference?
Yeah.
Right? Am I really serving at the highest level that I can do? And am I using all of my amazing gifts that my father has bestowed on me?
Right.
These are all things I think if you're in business for a long time, it's easy to overlook.
Yes.
It's like what I said before. It's like they're right here on the logical level, but we have to really get to where we're thinking about it on a
Yeah.
regular basis. Because look, your business should serve you, not the other way around.
Amen, sister. Preach it.
Right.
It is. No, and I heard that from Dan Kennedy for years, and I always kind of rebelled against that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's pretty self-centered. And then I realized, no, that's actually healthy
Yeah.
because when that happens, I am in a better place to serve other
Yeah.
people, right?
Well, and the other thing is that just because you've been doing what you've been doing for a long time doesn't mean that people still have to come to you.
right.
You have to be, people buy why you do what you do as much as what you do.
Absolutely.
And as you have to embody and live what that purpose is on a daily basis through your business, through the ways that you serve people, and through how you take care of yourself, it's all connected. You can't just focus on one and not focus on the other.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So let's dive down. Let's peel the onion back just a little bit, and let's talk about the physical health aspect of business, because I don't talk to a lot of people in your world around the physical. How can a busy entrepreneur, what are some things? How do you counsel them to say, okay, we need to get a regular something into your life around exercise?
Well,
give
it
us
starts
some
with
ideas.
a conversation about why this is important to you. Because
Mhm.
at the end, we can come up with a million reasons why it's not convenient, why it's not the best time, why I really need to allot my resources someplace else, whatever. If you think there's an excuse I haven't heard, try me, right? But really what it comes down to is having an honest conversation about why this is important. I think you have to get to a point, Dave Ramsey says it really well. You have to get to a point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
You kind of get tired of telling yourself the same story. And I think you get to a point and you wake up one day and you're like, all right, let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah.
And so we have to figure out what that is first. And then the next thing that we do is we look at your schedule, we look at your lifestyle, and we come up with a reasonable plan with action points that you can actually stick to, because a goal is not a goal if you don't have a plan that goes with it. You can talk about it all day long, but you got to have a plan that goes with it. And that's where I come in.
I love it. I love it. And that is so important. Your why drives you, because that's what's going to get you up in the morning when the alarm clock goes off at 5:45 to go,
right.
Oh, no, here it goes. Vision. And thinking the night before, here's the little thing I did that really, really helped me is I was going to bed at night going, I got to get up and exercise tomorrow. I just changed that to go, I get to exercise in the morning.
That's right.
It made all the difference in the world. My alarm went off. I'm up and at 'em. Let's go.
Well, and you bring up a really good point. It's about what you're choosing to think and believe.
Yes.
And that's really one of my zones of genius is I help you believe that you can do all of what you want to do. I show you what's possible so you live your best life.
I love it.
So it really does come down to how you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
And, our bodies are created to move. We're not created to sit behind a computer or sit, behind a desk or whatever else. We are created to move. That is one, it's an amazing gift.
It is. It really
Right?
is. It's funny. Yeah. You mentioned talking to yourself. I tell people all the time, and I learned this from somebody. The phrase is stop listening to yourself and start talking to yourself.
Yeah.
Because we'll have that
You
voice in our
gotta
head.
be able to coach yourself a little bit.
Absolutely.
And look, I'll just say this. I've been in fitness all of my life. And I'm an early morning person. I get up early and I get my workout in first because I want to start the day off with something challenging, right?
That's right.
I do that not just for my physical health, but I do that for my mental health too. And do you think there are days that I want to stay in bed? Yeah, there are plenty of those. But I also know at the end of the day, I show up so much better for my life, for my family, for the things that are really important to me when I prioritize my self-care first.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll jump in here for, this is me and you can correct me if I'm wrong. is I have found for me, I like a really short, intense workout in the morning, 7 to 12 minutes.
Yep.
And then sometimes like lunchtime or something in here in my office, I've got some exercise bands. I might do 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's that little oomph to go, okay, here we go.
Right.
It builds,
right.
I don't have to do an hour workout 3 days a week.
Well, and I'm so glad you brought that up because there's so much research out there that suggests short, incremental, intentional bursts of activity go a long way. I like to call them the dollar habits. Parking your car far away, taking the stairs, carrying your grocery bags, moving furniture, carrying that heavy box. Don't take the elevator for one flight of stairs for Pete's sake, right? Just don't do it. Work in your activity, get those dollar habits in, because guess what? It all adds up to metabolic savings at the end of the year, right?
Love it.
And it's those daily habits that drive our metabolism much more than focusing on getting the hour workout. Now, look, on the other hand, the hour workout is important too, because we want to really target the areas that are important to you. Everybody's body's different. We want to address that. But really, one of my strength sets is teaching what I call functional fitness, which are the 7 functional moves that we do every day. We're already doing these every day in our life. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel or doing some stupid something that you see on social media because some influencer says, this is what you do to get a 6-pack. Don't even get me started on that. We have to keep it simple. Function is purpose. You have to keep it to where it works for you.
Yep. Because otherwise it won't.
It won't.
It won't. And you'll give up.
Yeah. And this is one of the things I do on all of my retreats, which is what I absolutely love to do in my business, is to invite you on a retreat experience, because this is where we tie it all together. And not only do you get to experience an amazing location, but you get to take a deep dive into how all these pieces fit for you. This is what it's all about.
That's right. Yeah. Because and when you do this, what you're dealing with is a investment in a lifestyle that changes. I remember reading 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey, years ago. And he was talking about diet and exercise and all that. He said, really what you need to do is retrain your palate on foods that are better for you. Because and what he was talking about is the mental game, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the vector change that makes everything better. So
and the other thing too, and I don't know if this is an appropriate place to mention this or not, but I'm going to anyway, is you have to kind of let go of the things that haven't worked, right? Absolutely. It's going back to that innovative process. It's letting go of the baggage that's not serving you. And just because you couldn't do it 10 years ago or 5 years ago or yesterday doesn't mean that you can't do it today.
That's right. Yeah. And do what works for you. It's funny. I walked in my, I work out of my garage attic, right? And so I was walking downstairs and went in the house to do some things. And I walked in our bedroom and there's my wife against the wall doing like push-ups against the wall. Yeah. And I said, hey, praise God.
That works.
I mean, we're not spring chickens anymore, right?
Yeah. Right.
But the fact that she's doing something, I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So in working with somebody like Alison K, you can figure these things out to go, what does work for you?
Yeah.
And how do you build these habits around the 7 functional things that you do every day? What does that look like?
Well, and it's also building a thought and belief plan that aligns with your why, with what drives you, with what it is you're put on this earth to do. Because, as much as the action steps matter, the bigger piece is really what's going on in here, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
And
100%.
we want to be talking to ourselves in a way that really inspires us. And I mean, despite the fact that there's negative thoughts that we all think every day, right?
Yeah.
We always have a choice to decide what those mean to us.
That's right. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about being around Alison and in her world is so we do in our world, in our business, right? We help experts create books, but then we do coaching and things. And I'm always telling my clients, you need a coach. Everybody needs a coach because we need community.
Right.
And being a part of what Alison's put together, if this is resonating with you, you need to be part of a community, whether it's a retreat, whether it's something else that she's got going on where you can say, I need some help to get me going.
We can't read the label inside the bottle. That's what my coach always tells me. And I have two coaches. Yeah. And that's what, I mean, it's true though. We can know all the right things, but we need someone to hold our feet to the fire. I mean, human beings, I mean, pardon my language, we suck at behavior change. We just do. We just do. We tell ourselves, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it at the end of the month. No, you won't. If you knew what to do, you'd be doing it already.
Do it now.
Right.
But we need guidance. We need counsel. We need a community to say, hey, I missed 3 days of exercise. That's okay. Let's go.
So get back on tomorrow.
Don't beat yourself up. And that's what I think that's what you kind of have put together and things. So explain a little bit more how people can work with you. What do you offer? And then where do they get a hold of you?
Well, there are a number of different ways that you can work with me. If you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking about wanting to add an innovative offer in your business, whether it's create a retreats and events or one of my zones of genius, if that's something that you want to add to your business and encourage community, like you talked about, and add a 5-figure stream of income minimum to your business every year, it's an amazing way to tie together the things that you do with clients on the regular, and it gives them a really different experience. And talk about separating yourself from the sea of sameness that's online right now, right? So there's that. You can work with me privately. I do my Compass Road. I call it my Compass Road coaching program because I use a compass a lot in a lot of what I teach about finding your direction. Of course, you can always listen to my podcast, The Ultimate Journey of Self-Care, if you just want to hear some of the amazing people that I get to talk to on the regular. But go to my website, www.thealisonk.com. Read about what we do, read a little bit about my story. Send me a note. I just love to hear from people anyway, regardless of if you're not looking for a coach, you're not looking for a coach, whatever. Just I love to connect with people and just find out what they're doing, what those moments are that really encourage them to change. This is really where it's at. We really want to be out there, having these conversations and encouraging change because we're changing the way people live and we're changing the world one day at a time.
Absolutely. TheAlisonK.com. That's Alison with one L. TheAlisonK.com is where you're going to find her. You're going to read about her story, her background, how she's re-innovated her entire business over the last couple of years. And you'll really get a sense for her passion. Mm-hmm. And you'll see some pictures of a lady who really is passionate about life, who's fun, and who wants to help you not just take your business to the next level, but take your life to where it's healthy, it's fully orbed, and you are actually living out of your passions, your beliefs, and you're on track for greatness. And however you define that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what she's about. So thealisonk.com is where you'll find more information. Alison, this has been really, really a fun conversation. I love how you pull health, fitness, and business all together to help entrepreneurs serve more people, but serve more people and serving themselves as well. So
yes, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Thank you for being my guest today. I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.